You have one life. If you waste it being average, you'll spend your final years wondering what it could have been. Most people don't quit because life is too hard. They quit because they got used to living without purpose. And once you get used to that, you stop expecting more from yourself. But deep down, you know you were meant for more. You feel it when you wake up tired for no reason. You feel it when you scroll through your day hoping something inspires you. This video is not about hype, it's about truth. If you've been playing it safe, stuck in the same cycle, this is your sign to break out of it. Not next year, not next month, now. Because you have one life, one shot. And if you settle, that's on you. Stay locked in, this could be the shift you've been needing. Chapter 1. Realize every day you waste is gone forever. Every morning you wake up, time moves forward whether you do or not. That's the truth most people ignore until it's too late. Every day that passes is a day you never get back. You can't rewind it. You can't relive it. You can't redo it. It's gone, and the only question that matters is what did you do with it? Most people act like they have forever. They say they'll start next week, they'll chase that dream later, they'll get serious when things calm down. But life doesn't wait for anyone. Time keeps walking, and one day you'll look back and realize that later never came. You had the same 24 hours as everyone else, but you used them like you had an endless supply. When I was young, I learned something that changed how I live. The value of a single day. Not the big picture, not the whole year, just one day. Because life is made of those days. And how you use one day tells you exactly how you're using your life. If you waste a day, you're wasting a piece of your future. If you fill a day with purpose, you're building something worth remembering. You see, most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they keep putting things off. They think tomorrow will be easier. It never is. Tomorrow brings the same distractions, the same excuses, the same laziness dressed up as comfort. The only way to move your life forward is to do something now, today, while you still can. Think about how you spend a normal day. You wake up, maybe scroll through your phone, check emails, rush to work, talk about things that don't matter, come home, eat, and fall asleep. That's one day. Then it repeats. A week passes, a month passes, then a year. And somewhere inside, there's that quiet voice saying, I could have done more. That voice is your potential. It's the part of you that knows you were built for more than this routine. But potential doesn't mean anything if you never act on it. People say they're waiting for motivation. Motivation isn't something you wait for, it's something you create by taking action. The more you do, the more you feel like doing. You don't have to overhaul your entire life in one day, but you do have to start. Start by doing one thing that makes your time count. Read for an hour. Go for that run. Work on your idea. Make the call you've been avoiding. Every small action adds up. You have one life. That means every hour counts. When you waste one, you lose it forever. You can't go back to yesterday and fix it. You can't borrow from tomorrow. All you have is now. And if you understand that deeply, not just in your mind, but in your heart, you'll stop wasting time on things that don't move you closer to the person you want to be. Ask yourself, if today was the last day I had, would I be proud of how I spent it? That question changes everything, because it forces you to live consciously. It makes you pay attention to what really matters. Maybe you'd spend more time building something meaningful. Maybe you'd finally tell someone you love them. Maybe you'd stop chasing people's approval and start doing what feels right for you. When you begin to value time, you begin to value life. Time is the most equal thing we have. It doesn't care about your status, background, or education. Everyone gets 24 hours. The difference between the person who grows and the person who stays stuck is how they use those hours. The successful person doesn't have more time, they just refuse to waste it. Here's what I've learned about people who settle for mediocrity. It's not because they don't dream big, they do. But they treat time like it's a guarantee instead of a gift. They think there will always be another chance, another start, another tomorrow. But there won't be. The people who win in life treat time as their most valuable asset. They invest it carefully. They use it to learn, to build, to grow, to connect, to become someone they can respect. Think about your own life right now. How many dreams have you put on hold? How many times have you said, "I'll start when I have more time"? The truth is, you'll never have more time. You'll only have different priorities. And if something really matters to you, you'll find a way to make time for it today, because today is all you have. Most people don't live, they just exist. They move through days without feeling alive. They've traded passion for comfort. They've accepted average as normal. But there's a price for that. The price is regret. And regret doesn't hit you suddenly. It grows quietly. It shows up when you're alone, when you realize the days you wasted can't be replaced. That's why you must live now, with intention, with purpose, with urgency. Every time you wake up, you're being given another chance, a chance to improve, to learn, to create, to love, to grow. But that chance expires at the end of the day. When you sleep tonight, you'll never get that day back. So make it count. Do something that moves you forward. Do something that makes you proud. There's a kind of peace that comes from knowing you're not wasting your time. When you live intentionally, you stop feeling guilty about where you are because you know you're moving forward. You may not have everything you want yet, but you're no longer stuck. You're using your time wisely, and that gives your life meaning. If you ever feel lost, start by looking at how you spend your hours, because your hours become your days, and your days become your life. The way you spend your time is the clearest reflection of what you value. If you say you want to change, but you spend your nights watching shows you don't care about, your actions are lying to you. Change starts when you align your time with your priorities. When you realize that every day you waste is gone forever, you stop chasing perfection and start chasing progress. You stop worrying about what others think and start focusing on what you can control. You stop comparing your timeline to someone else's and start appreciating the one you have. There's no secret formula to success. It's simple. Use your time wisely. Do something meaningful every day. Stay consistent. Most people underestimate what they can do in a year because they overthink what they can do in a day. But if you use each day fully, you'll look back in a year and be amazed at how far you've come. Think about the people you admire, the ones who inspire you. They didn't wake up lucky. They just refused to waste time. They turned ordinary days into extraordinary progress. They decided that every hour mattered. And that's what you can do too. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to care about your time enough to use it wisely. One day, you'll reach the end of your story. You won't remember every detail, but you'll remember how you lived. You'll know whether you gave it your all or settled for less. And that's a choice you make right now, every morning, every hour, every minute. So today, make a promise to yourself. You won't waste another day. You won't scroll through hours of distraction. You won't say, someday. You'll start today. You'll treat time like it matters because it does. You'll use each day to build something that makes you proud. Because one day, time will run out. And when that day comes, I want you to look back and say, I didn't waste it. I lived it. You have one life. That's it. No rewinds, no repeats. No guarantees. Use it wisely. Start today. Make every day count, because every day you waste is gone forever, and you deserve better than that. Chapter 2. Decide what truly matters and stop living on autopilot. Most people go through life without ever stopping to ask themselves what really matters. They wake up, go through the motions, follow routines, meet deadlines, and call that living. But deep down, there's a quiet voice asking, "Is this it? Is this all there is?" That voice isn't weakness, it's your truth trying to wake you up. Because when you live on autopilot, you might look alive, but you're not really living. You're surviving. You're existing in repeat mode, and that's not what life was meant to be. You see, autopilot living happens when you stop thinking about why you're doing what you're doing. You wake up at the same time, take the same route, talk to the same people, complain about the same problems, and somehow expect things to change. But nothing changes because nothing new is being done. The biggest danger in life isn't failure, it's drifting. When you drift, you move, but you go nowhere. You look busy, but you're not building anything meaningful. To decide what truly matters, you first have to stop. Stop rushing. Stop pretending everything's fine. Stop filling your day with noise. Take a moment to look at your life honestly. Ask yourself, what am I doing all this for? If you can't answer that question clearly, you're not leading your life, you're just reacting to it. And a reactive life always leads to regret. Think about it. You might be chasing money because everyone around you says success means earning more. You might be working a job that drains your soul because you're afraid of change. You might be spending time with people who don't inspire you because it feels safer than being alone. That's autopilot. It's comfortable, predictable, and completely lifeless. It's the reason so many people look alive but feel empty inside. Real change begins when you decide to take back the steering wheel, when you make a conscious choice to live on purpose, not by default. That means every decision, from how you spend your mornings to how you treat others, comes from clarity, not habit. You start asking, does this matter to me? Does this align with who I want to become? That single habit, questioning your direction, can change your entire life. Start small. Take one area of your life and examine it deeply. Maybe it's your work. Are you doing it because you love it, or because it's all you've known? Maybe it's your relationships. Are they helping you grow, or are they holding you in the same place? Maybe it's your time. Are you filling it with distractions, or with things that make you proud? Every honest answer moves you closer to truth, and truth is uncomfortable at first, but it's the only thing that sets you free. Many people fear this kind of reflection because it forces them to face hard truths. It might show that they've wasted years doing what doesn't matter, but facing that truth is better than pretending, because once you face it, you can fix it, you can start over, you can build a life that feels alive again. The first step is awareness. Notice when you're drifting. Notice when your days blur together. Notice when you say yes out of habit instead of choice. Awareness is power. Once you're aware, you can interrupt the pattern. You can stop, breathe, and choose differently. The second step is clarity. Write down what matters to you. Not what matters to society, not what matters to your friends, what matters to you. What kind of person do you want to become? What kind of life would make you proud? Until you answer those questions, everything else is noise. When you know what truly matters, decisions become easier. You stop wasting time on things that don't serve your values. You stop caring so much about what others think. You stop saying yes to things that drain your energy. Life becomes lighter, not because it's easier, but because it's cleaner. You're no longer juggling meaningless obligations, you're moving toward what counts. Living on autopilot also robs you of presence. You might be there physically, but your mind is somewhere else. You miss moments because you're too busy thinking about what's next. You rush through meals, conversations, even happiness. One day, you look back and realize you never actually lived those moments, you just passed through them. To live intentionally, you must slow down enough to feel your life again. Taste your food. Listen when people talk. Notice the sunlight. Appreciate small wins. Life's depth is in the details, and you can only see them when you're awake. Now, deciding what truly matters doesn't mean cutting everything out of your life. It means prioritizing. It means saying, this stays, that goes. It means understanding that time is limited and not everything deserves your attention. You can do many things, but you can't do everything. Focus on the few things that bring meaning. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your personal growth. Whatever it is, protect it fiercely. Many people think fulfillment comes from adding more work, more money, more recognition. But real fulfillment comes from subtraction, from removing what doesn't matter, from simplifying. When you remove distractions, what's left is clarity. You begin to see your life not as a blur of tasks, but as a deliberate creation. If you keep saying you don't have time for what matters, it means you're giving your time to what doesn't. Time is not the problem, priorities are. You can find time for anything you truly value. The problem is that most people value comfort more than growth. They value fitting in more than standing out. They value temporary ease over long-term purpose. And so they drift. Not because they're lazy, but because they never stop to decide. You don't have to wait for a crisis to wake up. Most people only change when pain forces them to. But you can change because clarity inspires you to. Decide today that you won't let life just happen to you anymore. You'll design it. You'll be intentional with your time, your effort, your focus. Every day, before you start, ask yourself, what matters most to me today? Then do that. Even if it's hard, especially if it's hard. Living with purpose doesn't mean every day will be perfect. You'll still have routines, responsibilities, and setbacks. But the difference is, you'll know why you're doing it. You'll feel a sense of direction. You'll wake up with meaning instead of just momentum. When you live this way, even ordinary days feel worthwhile because they're part of something bigger. Think of how different life feels when you know your why. You stop chasing everything and start building something. You stop comparing your path to others and start respecting your own pace. You stop feeling empty after achievements because now they're connected to something meaningful. Success without purpose is empty. But even small progress with purpose feels fulfilling. If you've been living on autopilot, you don't need to feel guilty. You just need to wake up. Start by being honest about where your time goes. Track a single day. Notice how much of it is spent reacting instead of choosing. Then, slowly take control back. Say no when you need to. Replace mindless habits with intentional ones. Create a life you're present in. Remember this, your time is your life in motion. How you spend it becomes who you are. Don't waste it drifting between obligations that don't fulfill you. Decide what truly matters and then give it your focus, your heart, and your best effort. Because one day you'll look back, and all that will matter is how fully you lived, not how perfectly you managed. When you stop living on autopilot, everything changes. You start seeing possibilities where before you saw routines. You feel gratitude instead of boredom. You notice growth where you once felt stuck. You realize that happiness was never about doing more, it was about doing what matters. So today, pause and ask yourself a real question. If I keep living like this, where will I end up? If the answer doesn't make you proud, it's time to change direction. Life won't wait for you to figure it out later. The moment you wake up to what truly matters, you start living again. And that's when life stops being a blur and starts becoming yours.
Chapter 3. Give your dreams the effort they actually deserve. Everyone says they have dreams, but very few people give those dreams what they truly deserve: effort. Real effort. The kind that demands consistency, sacrifice, and patience. The kind that forces you to show up when you're tired, unsure, or afraid. Most people don't fail because their dreams are impossible. They fail because they never give them enough energy to come alive. It's easy to talk about goals. It's easy to say, I want to be successful, or I want a better life. But dreams don't move just because you wish for them. They move when you move. They grow when you work. They become real when you decide that enough effort doesn't mean doing the minimum. It means doing what it takes, no matter how long it takes. Look around. Every person you admire, the athlete, the leader, the artist, the entrepreneur, they all had the same hours in a day that you do. The difference isn't luck or talent, it's how much effort they gave. They pushed when others stopped. They practiced when others relaxed. They stayed committed long after the excitement was gone. That's what separates dreamers from doers. Dreamers hope things work out. Doers make things work. The truth is, your dream will test you. It will ask for your best. It will challenge your excuses and expose your limits. You'll face moments when it feels like nothing is working, when progress seems invisible, and you'll wonder if it's even worth it. That's where most people quit. But those who give their dreams real effort, push through that wall. They understand that growth hides on the other side of struggle. They know that every small action, even when unnoticed, is building something stronger inside them. If you want your dream to live, you have to feed it daily. Feed it with discipline, not just motivation. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. Discipline is what keeps you going when no one claps, when no one notices, when no reward is in sight. It's what reminds you that your dream deserves more than occasional bursts of energy. It deserves consistency. Ask yourself, how much of your effort is real? Are you working only when it's convenient, or are you doing what needs to be done even when it's uncomfortable? Because comfort is the enemy of achievement. If your effort doesn't stretch you, it won't change you. You can't expect your dreams to bloom on half-hearted effort. You can't water them once in a while and expect growth. You can't treat your goals like hobbies and expect professional results. Your dream deserves full attention. It deserves mornings where you wake up early and nights where you stay focused when others are distracted. It deserves your patience, your persistence, and your belief, even when no one else believes. There's a certain honesty you have to develop with yourself. If you truly want something, your actions must prove it. Words don't move the world, work does. If you want a better body, show it in your discipline. If you want a thriving business, prove it through your consistency. If you want a more meaningful life, reflect it in your choices. Every decision you make is either building your dream or delaying it. There's no in between. Effort is more than doing tasks. It's a mindset. It's saying, I will give this everything I have because it matters to me. That kind of thinking transforms you. It makes you reliable to yourself, and that's the greatest trust you can build. The trust that when you set your mind to something, you will follow through. Think about how much energy people give to things that don't matter. Hours scrolling, complaining, comparing. Imagine redirecting that same energy toward your goal. Imagine what could happen if you spent that time learning, improving, practicing, or building. Most people underestimate how much they can achieve in a few focused years. They spend decades talking and only moments doing. You can change that. You can decide that your dream won't be treated casually anymore. You can stop waiting for the right mood, the right opportunity, the right support. Because the truth is, those things rarely come first. You start, and then they appear. Effort attracts opportunity. Consistency builds confidence. Progress invites support. If you ever wonder how much effort your dream deserves, look at what it means to you. If it matters deeply, Give it everything, because one day, the time you have to pursue it will run out, and the pain of regret will weigh far heavier than the struggle of discipline. You'll never regret working hard for something that mattered, but you'll always regret quitting too soon. Your effort is the currency you trade for your future. You can't buy your dream with wishes. You can't borrow someone else's motivation. You have to pay in full with your own work. And the best part, every ounce of effort you give, every hour you dedicate, compounds over time. It doesn't disappear. It builds. It adds up until one day what seemed impossible becomes normal. Effort is also a mirror. It reflects how much you value yourself. When you give half effort, you're telling yourself that you're okay with less. But when you give everything, you're saying, I believe I'm worth it. And that belief changes how you walk, how you talk, how you carry yourself. It gives you quiet confidence, because you know you're doing the work others avoid. There's a misconception that giving your dream full effort will burn you out. The truth is, burnout doesn't come from working hard. It comes from working without purpose. When your effort is aligned with what you love, it fuels you. It energizes you. You might get tired, yes, but you won't feel empty, because your work feeds your soul, not just your schedule. It's also important to realize that effort is not always glamorous. Most of it happens in silence. While others sleep, you're learning. While others waste time, you're building. There's no applause, no quick reward, just steady progress. And that's what makes the results meaningful, because you earned them when no one was watching. Every great story you admire started with someone deciding, I will not quit until I make this happen. They faced rejection, doubt, failure, and fatigue. Yet they continued. Why? Because their dream deserved their effort. They knew that if they gave it everything, even if they failed, they'd still grow into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. Effort never goes to waste. It always builds character before it builds success. If you find yourself making excuses, too tired, too busy, too uncertain, remember this: the dream you're delaying will still require effort later. The only difference is that by waiting, you lose time you'll never get back. So why not start now? Why not give your best when it actually matters? Today, every day, you show up with intention. You train your mind to trust your commitment. That trust is what makes extraordinary people seem unstoppable. They're not superhuman, they're just consistent. They've built a habit of effort, so strong that giving up doesn't even feel like an option anymore. Ask yourself honestly, are you giving your dream what it truly deserves? Are you treating it like a priority or an afterthought? Are you willing to give the extra hour, the extra push, the extra patience it needs to grow? Because dreams don't fail. People stop giving effort. If you want something great, give great effort. Show up when it's inconvenient. Keep going when it's slow. Stay humble when it's working. The process will shape you as much as the goal itself. You'll find parts of yourself you didn't know existed. Discipline, courage, persistence. And that's the real reward. So from this moment, make a promise to yourself: no more half effort, no more excuses, no more treating your dream like a someday project. Give it your full attention, your daily energy, your honest work, because if it matters to you, it deserves that. One day, you'll look back and thank yourself for not giving up when it was hard. You'll realize that every drop of effort you gave created the life you once dreamed of. That's when you'll understand your dream was never waiting for luck. It was waiting for you to take it seriously. So work for it. Sweat for it. Believe in it enough to fight for it every single day. Your dream deserves that much. And so do you.
Chapter 4. Hold yourself accountable when no one else will. There will come a time in your life when no one will check on you, no one will remind you of your goals, and no one will push you to do the work.
That's when you'll find out how serious you really are about your life. Accountability is not about someone watching over you. It's about you watching over yourself. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to be told what to do because you've already made the decision to do it. Most people don't lack ambition. They lack accountability. They talk big, but follow through small. They wait for support, validation, or motivation that may never come. The truth is, if you keep waiting for someone else to hold you accountable, you'll stay exactly where you are. You are responsible for your progress. No one is going to live your life for you, fix your habits, or build your dreams. That's your job. And it's not easy, because it requires brutal honesty. It means facing the moments when you didn't do what you said you would do. It means admitting when you let fear, laziness, or excuses win. It means taking ownership of your choices instead of blaming circumstances. The moment you stop pointing fingers and start looking in the mirror, your life begins to change. Accountability is freedom disguised as discipline. When you rely on others to push you, you give them control over your growth. But when you hold yourself accountable, you take that power back. You decide your own pace, your own standards, your own results. You become the leader of your own life. That's what true independence looks like. Not doing everything alone, but taking full responsibility for your actions. When no one is watching, your choices reveal who you really are. It's easy to act committed when someone's keeping score. It's easy to stay focused when there's praise waiting at the end. But when it's just you, in silence, with no audience, and no reward, that's where character is built. That's when you find out if your goals mean enough to you. Accountability means you still give your best when there's no one to impress. You can't build a strong life on weak excuses. Every time you tell yourself, "I'll do it tomorrow," or "I'll start when things settle down," you train your mind to accept delay as normal. You make procrastination a habit. The truth is, things never really settle down. Life doesn't get easier, you get stronger. But only if you practice discipline every day, even when it feels pointless. Accountability means keeping your promises to yourself. Not because it's convenient, but because it's who you want to be. Think about it. You keep promises to other people all the time. You show up to work on time. You deliver tasks. You keep appointments. But when it comes to your own goals, you break those promises daily. You say you'll work out, then skip it. You say you'll read more, then scroll instead. You say you'll start that project, then talk yourself out of it. You would never tolerate that inconsistency from someone else. So why tolerate it from yourself? You deserve the same respect you give others. Self-accountability starts with awareness. You can't fix what you refuse to face. Take an honest look at your habits, your attitude, your effort. Where are you falling short? What patterns keep repeating? Write them down. Don't sugarcoat them. Clarity hurts, but it's necessary. Once you see the truth, you can't hide behind excuses anymore. That discomfort is where growth begins. Next, set clear expectations for yourself. Vague goals lead to vague results. Don't just say, "I'll do better." Say, "I'll wake up at 6. I'll finish 1 chapter a day," or "I'll save a certain amount this month." Specific actions create accountability. You can't measure progress without definition. When you make your goals concrete, you make them real. Then track your progress honestly. Keep a journal. Use a calendar. Record your wins and losses. Not for perfection, but for honesty. When you see your actions on paper, it removes illusion. You can't lie to yourself about what you did or didn't do. The act of tracking keeps you grounded in reality. It's not punishment, it's awareness. And awareness leads to control. Holding yourself accountable also means owning your results. If things go wrong, admit it. Don't blame your environment. your schedule, or other people. You can't grow while making excuses. Every setback is a mirror, showing you what needs improvement. The faster you take responsibility, the faster you can adjust. Life doesn't reward the person who avoids mistakes. It rewards the person who learns from them. Accountability is not about being harsh with yourself. It's about being honest and disciplined with care. You can be patient and kind while still demanding more from yourself. You can acknowledge your progress while knowing there's still work to do. That balance keeps you grounded and motivated. Too much self-criticism leads to burnout. Too little accountability leads to stagnation. You need both awareness and self-respect to keep going. When no one else is watching, remind yourself why you started. Your goals were born from something meaningful. A vision, a dream, a desire for change. Accountability keeps that vision alive when distractions tempt you away from it. There will always be easier paths, shortcuts, and temptations. Accountability is the voice that says, no, stay the course. You made a promise to yourself. Some people think accountability means perfection. It doesn't. It means effort without excuses. It means that even when you slip, you get back up immediately. You don't wait for next Monday. You don't wait for the perfect conditions. You correct. You adjust. You continue. That's what separates progress from procrastination. You have to care enough about your future to stay consistent even when no one's paying attention, because no one else can live your dreams for you. No one else can carry your responsibility. The effort, the habits, the sacrifices, they're all yours, and that's a gift, not a burden. It means your destiny is in your hands. Accountability also teaches you respect for time. Every moment you waste pretending to be productive is a moment you'll never get back. People often confuse movement with progress. You can stay busy all day and still go nowhere. Accountability makes you question if your actions are actually moving you closer to your goal. It forces you to choose quality over noise. In the long run, the ability to hold yourself accountable becomes your greatest strength. It gives you integrity. When people see that you do what you say, they trust you. When you see that you do what you say, you trust yourself. And that inner trust changes everything. It gives you confidence that no setback can break. It gives you calmness in chaos, because you know you'll follow through no matter what. No one will ever care about your dreams as much as you do. That's not negativity. It's reality. People are busy with their own lives. Some will cheer for you, but no one can sustain your drive for you. You must be your own motivator, your own coach, your own reminder. And when you master that, you become unstoppable. Sometimes accountability looks like saying no. No to distraction. No to comfort. No to things that pull you away from your goals. You won't always feel like doing the right thing. That's normal. But accountability means doing it anyway. Feelings change. Discipline doesn't. Discipline is what shows up when motivation fades. You can build this strength gradually. Start with one area. Wake up when you said you would. Complete one daily task without delay. Honor one promise fully. Each small win builds the muscle of accountability. Over time, it becomes your default. You stop negotiating with laziness, because you've built proof that you keep your word. There will be times when you fail, times when you miss the mark. Accountability doesn't disappear in those moments. It becomes even more important. Own your mistakes quickly. Learn from them and move on. Don't waste energy defending failure. Use it as data. The faster you face it, the faster you grow past it. If you've spent years depending on others to push you, start today by depending on yourself. You already know what you need to do. You don't need more advice. You need execution. Accountability is not about knowing. It's about doing. Knowledge without action is wasted. When you hold yourself accountable, you begin to value your potential differently. You stop tolerating mediocrity. You stop wasting time on what doesn't serve you. You develop quiet pride. Not arrogance, but confidence built on evidence. You'll look in the mirror and respect the person staring back. Not because they're perfect, but because they're honest. At the end of the day, accountability is the bridge between intentions and results. Everyone has good intentions, but only those who act consistently cross that bridge. You can have dreams, plans, and vision boards, but without accountability, they remain ideas. Accountability is the work that turns ideas into reality. When you start living this way, people will notice. They'll see a calm seriousness in how you move. They'll see that you don't talk about goals. You live them. You won't need to convince anyone of your discipline. Your results will do the talking, and one day, you'll look back and realize that holding yourself accountable was the turning point. It was the moment you stopped needing external approval. It was when you stopped making excuses and started creating outcomes. That's the moment you truly grow. So, from now on, make this your standard. If something matters to you, you will hold yourself to it. No one else has to remind you. No one else has to push you. You'll do it because your word means something to you. That's real accountability. That's real strength. That's how you build a life you can be proud of.
Chapter 5. Do the hard things that separate growth from comfort. Growth doesn't come from what's easy. It comes from what tests you, stretches you, and makes you uncomfortable. Every time you choose the harder path, you separate yourself from the majority who choose comfort over change. It's not because they don't want to grow, it's because growth hurts at first. The mind loves comfort. It seeks safety, routine, and ease. But comfort is a silent trap. It makes you feel fine today while slowly robbing you of your potential tomorrow. Doing hard things doesn't mean living in pain. It means doing what's necessary even when it's unpleasant. It means taking responsibility for your choices instead of hiding behind excuses. It means waking up early to work on your goals when you'd rather stay in bed. It means facing rejection, criticism, and failure without giving up. The hard things are the real teachers of life. They reveal your character, test your discipline, and show you what you're truly made of. Most people never reach their potential because they avoid discomfort. They build their days around convenience and wonder why they feel unfulfilled. They stay in jobs that don't challenge them, relationships that drain them, habits that weaken them, all because those things feel familiar. Comfort creates stability, but too much comfort kills ambition. The moment life gets too easy, you stop growing, you stop improving, you stop feeling alive. The truth is, growth and comfort cannot exist in the same space. Every step forward in your life came from a moment when you did something hard. Think about the first time you faced fear, the first time you took a risk, the first time you pushed yourself beyond what you thought you could do. That's when you grew. It wasn't pleasant, but it was powerful. Growth always demands something from you. It demands effort, courage, and persistence. Doing the hard things means saying yes to challenges that scare you, and no to habits that waste your potential. It's applying for that job you don't feel ready for. It's speaking up when your voice shakes. It's learning new skills even when it's frustrating. It's choosing discipline when distraction feels easier. The hard things are what separate people who change their lives from those who repeat them. You see, your brain is built to protect you, not to push you. It will always choose the easy route unless you train it differently. When you force yourself to take the harder road, something shifts inside you. You start trusting your ability to handle discomfort. You build mental toughness. You begin to realize that fear isn't a stop sign. It's a signal that you're moving toward something meaningful. The hard things teach you patience. Nothing great happens overnight. When you take on difficult goals, you learn to deal with slow progress, long waits, and silent work.
You stop expecting quick results and start valuing persistence. The small wins that come from doing hard things build real confidence, the kind that can't be faked or borrowed. When you avoid difficulty, you also avoid discovery. You never find out what you're capable of until life forces you to rise. Comfort might feel good in the moment, but it breeds regret in the long run. Growth feels uncomfortable in the moment, but it brings pride that lasts forever. You'll never hear someone say, "I regret working hard," or "I regret facing my fear," but you'll often hear people say, "I wish I had tried." That's the cost of comfort, regret. There's a point where the path of least resistance becomes the path of least reward. Every successful person you admire has a history of doing hard things. They failed publicly. They sacrificed comfort. They worked through doubt. They kept going when others quit. That's the invisible part of success. The long hours, the uncertainty, the quiet persistence. Everyone wants the reward, but few want the process. Doing hard things doesn't mean suffering for no reason. It means understanding that the things that matter most, health, purpose, growth, relationships, require effort. It's hard to eat healthy when junk food is everywhere. It's hard to save money when you can spend it easily. It's hard to stay disciplined when no one's watching. But those decisions shape your future. Each hard choice builds a layer of strength that makes the next challenge easier. The more you face discomfort, the more you build resilience. Resilience isn't something you're born with. It's built through repetition. Every time you push through something difficult, your mind learns that pain doesn't break you. It teaches you. It conditions you to keep going. You start craving growth instead of fearing. And that's when you become unstoppable, when discomfort becomes normal and progress becomes your new comfort zone. If you want to live a life of meaning, stop chasing what's easy. Easy gives temporary pleasure, but no fulfillment. The easy choice gives you quick comfort, but long-term disappointment. The hard choice gives you short discomfort, but long-term pride. You can either suffer the pain of growth or the pain of regret. One lasts a moment, the other can last a lifetime. Ask yourself, what hard thing am I avoiding right now? Maybe it's an uncomfortable conversation you need to have. Maybe it's the work you keep delaying. Maybe it's the discipline you've been promising yourself to build. Whatever it is, that's the next step. That's where your growth is waiting. Avoiding it won't make it disappear. Facing it will make you stronger. The people who achieve more aren't luckier. They just get used to doing what others avoid. They don't let emotions dictate their effort. They work when they're tired. They show up when they're scared. They keep promises when it's inconvenient. They treat discomfort as a signal to act, not to stop. That's the mindset that turns ordinary people into leaders, creators, and examples. You have to understand that comfort is addictive. Once you start choosing it, it becomes a pattern. You stop questioning it. You stop challenging it. It feels safe, but it slowly erodes your edge. The only way to break that pattern is through deliberate discomfort, doing something every day that stretches you just a little beyond what feels easy. That's how you train your mind to grow. The small hard things matter as much as the big ones. Waking up early, working out, reading instead of scrolling, staying calm in arguments, finishing what you start, all these small acts build your strength. They teach you to take control of yourself. They teach you that growth is earned, not given. Each day you choose challenge over comfort, you win a quiet battle that no one sees, but those small victories add up to massive transformation. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of conscious effort repeated over time. You can't wish for it. You must work for it. You can't expect it without discomfort. You must invite it. And once you realize that the hard path is the real path, life becomes clearer. You stop resenting struggle because you see it as progress. You stop fearing difficulty because you know it's building you. Doing the hard things gives life meaning. It gives you stories worth telling. It gives you self-respect. It makes you look in the mirror and say, I earned this. There's no pride in comfort, but there's pride in persistence. There's pride in knowing you didn't take the easy route. Every morning you have two choices. Do what's easy and stay the same, or do what's hard and grow. You can't have both. If you keep choosing comfort, life will eventually force you into discomfort through regret, missed chances and what-ifs. But if you choose growth, life rewards you with strength, confidence and fulfillment. The difference between the person you are now and the person you want to become lies in the things you're willing to do. The distance between average and extraordinary is measured by discomfort. You don't have to climb mountains overnight. Just do one hard thing today, then do another tomorrow. That's how transformation begins. Quietly, consistently, through effort no one sees. One day, when you've grown into a stronger, wiser and more capable version of yourself, you'll look back at all those moments you chose the hard road and realize they were worth it. Every sacrifice, every challenge, every tough decision, it all built you. And you'll understand that growth never came from what was comfortable. It came from every time you chose courage instead. So don't avoid the hard things. They're not punishments. They're invitations to evolve. Every time you do something uncomfortable, you're building a stronger foundation for your life. Growth is waiting, but it won't chase you. You have to meet it halfway. And that happens only when you decide to do the hard things that separate comfort from great.
Chapter 6. Silence the fear that tells you to play it safe. Fear is one of the strongest forces that shapes the direction of your life. It whispers quietly, but its words are powerful. It tells you to stay where you are, to not take chances, to not speak up, to not dream too big. It convinces you that playing it safe is the smarter choice. But what fear doesn't tell you is that safety can become a prison. Every time you listen to that voice, a piece of your potential fades. The longer you let fear guide your decisions, the smaller your world becomes. Fear isn't the enemy, it's a signal. It shows up whenever something important is on the line. It's the mind's way of saying, you're about to grow. The problem isn't that we feel fear, it's that we obey it. We mistake fear for truth. We let it convince us that risk equals danger. But most of the time what we call danger is just discomfort. The fear of embarrassment, rejection, or failure keeps people from ever finding out how capable they really are. You've probably had moments when you wanted to do something bold, apply for a new job, start a business, tell someone how you really feel, but you froze. Not because you couldn't do it, but because your mind played a movie of everything that could go wrong. That's fear's favorite trick. It exaggerates risk and minimizes reward. It reminds you of your past mistakes and hides your past victories. It keeps you stuck in what's familiar, even when that familiarity is suffocating. Silencing fear doesn't mean pretending it's gone. It means refusing to let it decide for you. Fear doesn't vanish through avoidance. It fades through action. The more you face it, the quieter it gets. Every time you do something you're afraid of, you teach your brain that fear is just noise. You begin to separate real danger from imagined limits. When fear tells you to play it safe, it's trying to protect your comfort, not your future. Playing it safe might feel secure today, but it costs you freedom tomorrow. It keeps you living a half-life comfortable, yes, but never fulfilled. Think about how many dreams have died because someone chose the easy route. How many people stayed silent when they had something powerful to say? How many opportunities were lost because someone waited to feel ready? The truth is, you'll never feel completely ready. There will always be uncertainty. Waiting for fear to disappear is like waiting for the ocean to stop moving before you dive in. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward while it's still there. Every successful person you've ever admired felt afraid too. They just refused to let it control them. You silence fear by building proof that you can handle it. Start small. Take one step towards something that scares you.
Speak up in the meeting. Send that message. Sign up for that course. The first step won't feel natural, but it will break the pattern. Once you take that step, you'll realize that fear loses power the moment you act. Fear thrives in imagination. It grows in silence. When you take action, you stop feeding it. You bring it into the light of reality, where it's often smaller than it looked in your mind. The mind creates stories. What if I fail? What if they laugh? What if I'm not enough? But reality often answers differently. What if it works? What if they support you? What if you're stronger than you think? Playing it safe is not harmless. It's expensive. You pay for it with time, confidence, and opportunity. Years go by and you start to wonder what would have happened if you had taken that chance. Regret is not about what went wrong, it's about what never began. When you live too carefully, you protect yourself from pain, but also block yourself from joy. Growth requires risk. If you want to silence fear, stop treating it as a command and start treating it as feedback. Fear is information. It's pointing to something meaningful. When something scares you, ask yourself why. Is it because it's wrong for you or because it's new? Most of the time it's the second one. Your brain confuses discomfort with danger. Learning to tell the difference is how you free yourself. Fear grows in the dark corners of your mind where uncertainty lives. When you avoid the things that scare you, they grow larger. When you face them, they shrink. You can't think your way out of fear. You have to act your way through it. Action builds evidence, and evidence builds confidence. Each time you take a step forward, you prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. Some people wait for someone to push them. But fear is personal. No one can fight it for you. You have to face it alone. You have to decide that your dreams are worth the discomfort. You have to believe that failure isn't fatal. It's feedback. The most successful people are not fearless. They're just practiced in managing fear. They've felt it hundreds of times and learned to move anyway. The voice of fear will always sound reasonable. It will say things like, "Be careful, what if it doesn't work? You could lose everything." But you have to question that voice. Ask it, what if it does work? What if I gain something better? What if playing it safe is the real risk? Most of the limits you think you have are self-imposed. They exist only because you keep believing the voice that says you can't. There's another voice inside you, quieter but wiser, the one that wants to grow, create and live fully. That voice doesn't shout, it whispers, and every time you silence fear, that voice gets stronger. You start trusting it more. You start believing in your own ability to face life. That's how confidence is built, not from knowing everything, but from trusting yourself to handle whatever comes. Fear also disappears when you focus on purpose. When you're driven by something meaningful, fear becomes smaller. Purpose gives pain meaning. It reminds you why it's worth it. People who achieve great things don't lack fear, they just have a reason stronger than. If your why is powerful, the what-ifs lose control. You silence fear by living in the present. Fear loves the future. It thrives on what-ifs. It keeps you anxious about things that haven't even happened. Bring your focus back to now. What can you do right now to move forward just one step? The future takes care of itself when you keep moving. You also silence fear through preparation. Most of the time, fear comes from feeling unprepared. When you put in the work, when you study, practice and prepare, confidence replaces panic. The unknown feels less threatening when you know you've done the work. Preparation doesn't erase fear, but it gives you control. Don't wait for courage to arrive. It's built through repetition. Every time you face fear and survive, you rewire your brain to see challenge as manageable. The next time you'll hesitate less. Eventually, what once scared you becomes your new normal. That's growth. That's freedom. Remember, fear doesn't show up to stop you. It shows up to test you. It's the body's way of saying, This matters. Instead of backing away, listen and move anyway. Growth is never found in comfort. You'll never know how capable you are until you step into the things that scare you most. If you keep playing it safe, life becomes predictable, but not satisfying. You can't expand your life by staying inside the same wall. Every breakthrough you want requires walking through fear. That job, that relationship, that dream. It's all waiting on the other side of your hesitation. There's no way around fear. You can't hide from it, and you can't outrun it. You can only face it. The good news is that fear fades the moment you take action. The more you confront it, the quieter it becomes. The more you wait, the louder it gets. You were not created to live cautiously. You were built to grow, to experience, to expand. Playing it safe might protect you from failure, but it also protects you from success. The safest path often leads to the biggest regrets. So the next time fear tells you to stay comfortable, do the opposite. Speak when it tells you to stay silent. Move when it tells you to wait. Try when it tells you to quit. Fear's voice will always be there, but it doesn't have to be in charge. The people who live with the most peace are not those who avoid fear. They are those who stop obeying it. They've learned that fear is just a part of the process, not a stop sign. They use fear as fuel. They've learned to say, I feel scared but I'll do it anyway. You silence fear through movement, through honesty, through courage. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than the voice in your head. Because every time you act in spite of fear, you grow louder than it. You reclaim your power, and that's how you move from a life of safety to a life of significance. So don't play it safe. Safe doesn't change lives. Safe doesn't create growth. Safe doesn't build stories worth telling. Walk into the feel it fully. Act anyway. And one day, fear will no longer be your master. It will be your reminder that you're alive, that you're growing, and that you're finally living the life you were meant to live.
Chapter 7. Build a mindset that fights laziness with purpose every day. Laziness isn't just about doing nothing, it's a quiet surrender of your potential. It's the slow habit of saying later to things that matter. Every time you postpone action, you give away a little more control over your life. The truth is, everyone feels lazy sometimes. No one is immune to the temptation of ease. The difference between people who grow and people who stay stuck isn't that one never feels lazy, it's that one learns to fight it with purpose. When your purpose is strong enough, laziness loses its power. The real enemy isn't a lack of time or energy, it's a lack of meaning. When you don't know why you're doing something, effort feels heavy. Purpose gives effort direction. It turns I have to into I want to. Without purpose, even simple tasks feel exhausting. With purpose, even hard work feels worth it. That's why the first step in fighting laziness isn't to push yourself harder. It's to reconnect with what matters to you. You need a reason that wakes you up in the morning. Something that pulls you instead of something that you have to push for. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be providing for your family, becoming healthier, creating something you're proud of, or simply becoming the person you've always wanted to be. Purpose doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be real. When you have that, your mind starts to move differently. You stop asking, do I feel like it, and start saying, this is what needs to be done. Laziness grows in the absence of structure. The mind naturally takes the easiest route unless you give it direction. Building a mindset that fights laziness means creating systems that make action automatic. You don't wait for motivation. You build routines that make progress your default. Set clear priorities, decide what matters most each day, and start with that. When you begin your morning with purpose, the rest of the day follows. The people who achieve things aren't superhuman.
They've simply learned to organize their lives around purpose instead of comfort. They don't ask whether they feel ready. They focus on what needs to be done. Laziness loses its power when you stop negotiating with it. Every time you delay action, it becomes easier to delay again. Every time you push through that resistance, it becomes easier to act again. Discipline grows in the same way muscles do. Through repetition and resistance, your mind will always look for shortcuts. It will tell you that you can skip today and start tomorrow. That's how laziness speaks. It sounds reasonable. It convinces you that resting a little longer won't hurt, but every small delay carries a cost. When you give in once, you weaken your ability to choose action the next time. The best way to silence that voice is to move before it gets louder. When you feel resistance, act immediately. Don't overthink. Action kills hesitation. The key is not to fight laziness with guilt, but with purpose. Guilt drains you. Purpose energizes you. When you focus on why something matters, you stop resenting the work. You start to see effort as an investment in your future. You realize that every small task, no matter how ordinary, is part of a bigger picture. When you attach meaning to your actions, discipline becomes natural. Laziness often comes disguised as comfort. It feels harmless because it's quiet, but comfort is seductive. It gives you a sense of relief while stealing your potential in silence. If you want to grow, you have to become uncomfortable with being comfortable. Challenge yourself daily, even in small ways. Wake up a bit earlier. Learn something new. Exercise when you don't want to. Each time you do, you build a stronger relationship with effort. You can't win against laziness with willpower alone. Willpower fades when you're tired, stressed, or distracted. That's why purpose must lead. When you have a clear why, it carries you through the moments when your energy is low. Purpose is a renewable source of motivation. It reminds you that what you're doing matters. It's what keeps you working when no one is watching. A purposeful mindset doesn't come naturally, it's built daily. You must train your thoughts the same way you train your body. Every morning, remind yourself of your goals. Visualize what you're working toward. Ask yourself what one action today will make you proud tonight. Keep your focus on progress, not perfection. Perfection is paralyzing. Progress is freeing. Small, consistent steps create momentum, and momentum destroys laziness. Laziness grows stronger when life feels meaningless. When you feel disconnected from your future, effort seems pointless. That's why you must constantly feed your mind with purpose. Read things that inspire you. Surround yourself with people who push you. Limit the time you spend on things that drain you. The more you feed your mind with positivity and vision, the less room laziness has to thrive. You can't expect to stay focused if you live without direction. Every person needs a mission, something that gives them a reason to get up even when life feels heavy. Without that, it's too easy to drift into distraction. Purpose keeps your feet on the ground when comfort tries to pull you back. When you catch yourself procrastinating, pause and ask, what am I avoiding right now? Often, it's not the task itself that scares you. It's the discomfort attached to it. You might fear failure, judgment, or effort, but the only way to make that fear smaller is by doing the very thing you're avoiding. Every time you act, you train your mind to see progress as pleasure. You must also redefine what productivity means to you. It's not about being busy. It's about being intentional. You can fill your day with activities and still feel lazy if those activities don't move you closer to your goals. A purposeful life isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. Build daily habits that remind you who you're becoming. Write down your priorities. Reflect on what went well and what didn't. Reward yourself for effort, not just outcomes. The goal is to build a pattern of discipline that becomes part of your identity. When being consistent becomes who you are, laziness has nowhere to hide. You'll have days when you don't feel like doing anything. That's normal. But purpose gives you something stronger than feeling. It gives you direction. On those days, focus on small wins. Do one productive thing, even if it's simple. The hardest part is start. Once you move, momentum takes over. Action creates energy. A purposeful mindset also requires honesty. Be real with yourself about how you spend your time. Track it. You'll be surprised at how much of your day slips away to distractions that give you nothing back. Awareness is the first step to control. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Once you see where your time goes, you can redirect it toward what matters. Fighting laziness isn't about being perfect. It's about staying aware and staying intentional. You won't win every battle, but you can win most of them by remembering why you started. Laziness loses its grip when you stop seeing effort as punishment and start seeing it as privilege. The privilege to grow, to create, to improve. Purpose transforms your mindset from I have to into I get to. You get to learn. You get to build. You get to move closer to your dreams. When you start thinking like that, effort becomes empowering. You no longer dread it. You respect it. To build a mindset that fights laziness every day, you must design your life around progress. Wake up with intention. End the day with reflection. Cut out what doesn't serve your growth. Fill your time with what strengthens your mind and body. Every day is a new chance to prove to yourself that you can lead your life, not just live it. Purpose doesn't just fight laziness, it destroys it. Because once you find a reason that lights you up inside, laziness feels too small to hold you back. You stop wasting energy resisting action and start using that energy to create something meaningful. You stop surviving and start building. So build that mindset deliberately. Feed it with purpose. Protect it with discipline. Strengthen it with daily action. Because the moment your mind learns to fight laziness with purpose, you stop being at war with yourself and start becoming unstoppable.
Chapter 8. Choose self-respect over approval from people who don't care. There comes a moment in everyone's life when they realize not everyone's opinion deserves space in their mind. Most people spend too much time chasing approval from people who will never truly care about them. They bend their values, silence their voice, and shape themselves into versions they barely recognize just to be accepted. But the truth is, approval is temporary, and it never satisfies. Self-respect lasts. When you choose self-respect, you stop living for applause and start living with peace. The desire for approval is human. We all want to be liked, to feel seen, to belong. But there's a fine line between connection and dependence. When you depend on other people's validation to feel worthy, you give away control of your happiness. You start measuring your value based on how others respond, instead of who you are. You stop doing what's right for you because you're afraid of losing acceptance. That's not living, that's performing. Approval from people who don't care is one of the emptiest rewards you can earn. It gives you a short burst of satisfaction, but it fades quickly, leaving behind insecurity and self-doubt. You end up asking yourself what you did wrong, or why you still don't feel fulfilled. That's because approval doesn't heal you, it hides you. It keeps you from standing in your truth. Self-respect is different. It doesn't need noise. It doesn't demand applause. It's quiet but strong. It's knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you will no longer tolerate. When you respect yourself, you no longer seek validation from people who treat your worth as negotiable. You stop explaining your value. You stop chasing attention.
You focus on becoming someone you can trust and admire. People who don't care about you will always have opinions about you. They'll judge, criticize, and gossip, because it costs them nothing. And if you try to please them, you'll exhaust yourself. You can't win a game where the rules keep changing. Some people will only like you when you're beneath them. The moment you grow, they'll feel threatened. The moment you set boundaries, they'll call you selfish. But remember, setting boundaries isn't arrogance. It's self-respect. When you live for approval, you make decisions that betray your values. You say yes when your heart says no. You stay quiet when you should speak up. You hide your truth to avoid conflict. Every time you do that, you lose a little piece of yourself. It might seem harmless at first, but over time, it creates emptiness. You start wondering why life feels hollow even when people praise you. It's because you're living a version of yourself that doesn't belong to you. Choosing self-respect means deciding that your peace matters more than other people's opinions. It means doing what's right even when it's unpopular. It means walking away from situations that dishonor you even if it leaves you alone for a while. It means knowing that not everyone deserves access to you. Your time, your energy, your attention. Those are valuable. Don't spend them trying to impress people who don't add meaning to your life. You have to remind yourself that approval is not love. Love accepts you as you are. Approval accepts you as long as you stay convenient. The people who truly care about you won't need you to shrink to make them comfortable. They won't punish you for growing. They'll support you even when you disagree. That's real connection. And once you experience that kind of authenticity, you'll never crave shallow approval again. When you choose self-respect, you start trusting your own judgment. You stop waiting for confirmation that your path is valid. You start taking responsibility for your happiness instead of outsourcing it. It's not arrogance. It's ownership. It's understanding that your worth isn't up for debate. No one gets to define it for you. There will be times when choosing self-respect feels lonely. You might lose people. You might be misunderstood. But losing the wrong people will never harm you. It only creates space for better ones. Sometimes, silence from those who don't value you is the greatest gift. It teaches you to stand firm in your identity. It teaches you that peace of mind is more valuable than popularity. You can't live a meaningful life if your energy is spent managing other people's opinions. The truth is, most people aren't thinking about you as much as you think they are. They're too busy worrying about themselves. Yet we let imaginary judgment hold us back from living fully. You miss opportunities, silence ideas, and delay dreams because of what someone might think. That's how fear disguised as social approval keeps you small. If you want freedom, you have to stop performing for approval. You have to learn to disappoint others before you disappoint yourself. You can't make everyone happy, and that's okay. The goal isn't to be liked by everyone. It's to be respected by the right ones and at peace with yourself. When you stop trying to impress others, you finally start impressing yourself. Self-respect also means taking accountability for your own growth. It's not just about saying no to others. It's about saying yes to what makes you better. It's about showing up for yourself even when no one acknowledges it. It's about doing the hard work, keeping promises to yourself, and setting standards for how you want to be treated. The way you treat yourself teaches others how to treat you. Sometimes, the reason you keep seeking approval is that you haven't learned to validate yourself. You depend on others to give you the confidence you haven't built within. But confidence built on praise crumbles when the praise stops. Real confidence is built on integrity, doing what's right when no one notices. It's built on discipline, consistency, and truth. It's earned through self-respect, not handed through approval. Think about how much time and energy you've wasted trying to prove your worth to people who never cared to see it. You've explained, justified, and overextended yourself for people who would never do the same for you. That's energy you could have invested in building your future, learning new skills, or improving your health. The moment you stop needing external validation, that energy comes back to you. You become unstoppable. When you start choosing self-respect, your life becomes clearer. You begin to see who's genuine and who's not. You notice who claps for you quietly and who only supports you when it benefits them. You stop chasing temporary approval because you realize you were never meant to beg for acceptance. You were meant to live in alignment. Self-respect isn't about pride. It's about boundaries. It's saying I won't allow myself to be treated less than I deserve. It's not anger. It's clarity. It's choosing to walk away from disrespect instead of staying to prove your worth. You can't change how people see you, but you can choose how you see yourself. You'll find that the more you respect yourself, the more peace you feel. You stop reacting to every opinion because you know who you are. You stop explaining your decisions to people who aren't invested in your happiness. You stop apologizing for being yourself. That's what self-respect gives you. Freedom. The hardest part is breaking the habit of needing approval. It's addictive. It feels good to be praised, but that feeling is fleeting. Self-respect might not give you instant gratification, but it gives you lasting confidence. Approval fades when opinions change. Self-respect grows stronger with time. You silence the need for approval by building a life that makes you proud. You fill your days with purpose, honesty, and growth. You stop comparing yourself to others and start competing with who you were yesterday. You measure your progress by your own standards. You stop chasing applause and start chasing integrity. When you live this way, the people who truly value you will find you. You'll attract those who respect your boundaries and appreciate your authenticity. You'll lose a few along the way, but you won't miss them, because the peace that comes from self-respect is greater than the comfort of shallow validation. You don't need everyone to like you. You just need to like the person you see in the mirror. That's where true strength comes from. That's where freedom begins. When you live with self-respect, you don't chase attention. You command it. You don't seek permission. You give yourself direction. You stop trying to fit in and start standing out by being real. So stop living for people who don't care. Stop seeking approval from those who only notice when you're useful. Start respecting yourself enough to walk your own path, even if it's quiet, even if it's lonely at first, because self-respect will give you something approval never can: peace of mind, confidence, and the strength to live life on your own terms.
Chapter 9. Create daily standards that make you proud to wake up. Every day is a blank page, waiting for you to write your story on it. The quality of your life doesn't change in a single breakthrough moment. It changes in the small standards you hold yourself to every single day. Most people wake up and drift through their mornings without purpose, without structure, without any sense of pride in how they live. They react to life instead of designing it. They wait for motivation instead of creating discipline. But those who live with daily standards don't need motivation. They move with direction. They wake up proud because they know who they're becoming and why their effort matters. Standard isn't a rule, it's a promise you make to yourself about the kind of person you'll be today. It's the level of effort, focus, and integrity you refuse to compromise. It's not about being perfect, it's about being intentional. Standards separate wishful thinking from real change. They turn vague goals into clear expectations. When you live with standards, you stop negotiating with laziness, excuses, and inconsistency. You start leading yourself instead of being led by your moods. The reason most people struggle with consistency is that they live by feelings, not standards. They act when they feel inspired and stop when they don't. Feelings are unpredictable. Some mornings you'll feel tired, some days you'll feel discouraged, and some moments you'll want to quit. But standards don't depend on emotions, they depend on commitment. You might not control how you feel, but you control what you do. Daily standards are the anchor that keeps you steady when your emotions swing. Creating standards starts with self-respect. You must decide that you're done living below your potential.
You must decide that every day counts and that you'll no longer waste it on things that don't move you forward. The question isn't, what do I want to do today? The question is, what kind of person do I want to be today? When you answer that clearly, your actions start to align. You stop acting out of habit and start acting out of purpose. Your standards are your identity in motion. If your standard is to give your best, you don't settle for half effort. If your standard is to stay honest, you don't cut corners even when no one's watching. If your standard is to grow, you don't waste time complaining. You adjust, you learn, and you keep moving. The higher your standards, the higher your self-respect. Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust in your own word. Most people think their life will change when they achieve big goals. But goals are only outcomes. Standards are the process. It's not what you achieve that changes you, it's who you become by living with discipline each day. Success doesn't start when you reach the top, it starts when you decide to stop doing the bare minimum. When you raise your standards, everything else follows. Your habits change, your results change, your self-image change. Daily standards must be personal. They have to mean something to you, not to others. Don't copy someone else's routine or values. Create your own blueprint. Maybe your standard is to start your day without your phone. Maybe it's to move your body every morning, to read something that challenges your mind, or to speak to yourself with kindness instead of criticism. The small things matter because they shape your mindset. Every standard is a message to your brain. This is who I am now. It's not about perfection, it's about pride. You should be able to look back at your day and say, I showed up. Not because everything went right, but because you honored your effort. Pride doesn't come from comfort, it comes from integrity. It comes from knowing you gave the best version of yourself to the day, no matter how ordinary it seemed. The world rewards consistency, not bursts of effort. Anyone can work hard once in a while, but the ones who rise are those who bring effort every day. That's what daily standards do. They remove negotiation. You don't have to ask yourself whether you'll work out, study, focus, or follow through. It's already decided. That decision frees your energy for what matters most. Execution. If you want to wake up proud, you have to build habits that make pride your default. You can't wake up feeling good about your life if your daily actions contradict your goals. Pride comes from alignment. It's the peace you feel when your behavior matches your vision. It's the quiet confidence that comes from discipline. One of the greatest lies people believe is that they'll start living better when things slow down or when they have more time. But time doesn't create standards. Standards create time. When you know what matters each day, you stop wasting energy on distractions. You stop filling your schedule with noise. You focus on what actually matters, and that focus gives your life structure. You must define your non-negotiables, those few things you'll do no matter what. It might be a workout, a journal entry, a call to a loved one, or a moment of gratitude. The goal isn't to do more, it's to do what matters with intention. You'll find that once you commit to your standards, you feel calmer and more in control. The chaos doesn't disappear, but your ability to handle it improves. Living with standards also means having boundaries. You can't keep high standards if you let everything and everyone drain your time. Say no when you need to. Protect your mornings. Guard your focus. Don't allow other people's urgency to dictate your day. Standards aren't just about what you do, they're also about what you refuse to tolerate. There will be days when you fall short. Days when you're tired, unmotivated, or distracted. Those days matter the most, because that's when your standards are tested. It's easy to do what's right when everything feels easy. The true test of character is how you act when no one would blame you for giving up. On those days, do something, anything, to honor your commitment. It might not be perfect, but it keeps your word alive. Your standards are like a mirror. You can't lie to them. You either kept them, or you didn't. That honesty can sting, but it's what keeps you growing. When you break your standards, reflect on why. Don't judge yourself. Learn from it. Ask, what distracted me? What can I adjust tomorrow? Growth isn't about never failing. It's about never staying down. Each morning is a reset button. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep showing up. The more you live with clear standards, the less guilt you carry. You don't waste time regretting yesterday because you're too busy building today. That's what pride feels like. It's not arrogance, it's satisfaction earned through discipline. People who wake up proud didn't find a secret formula. They built it. They decided that every day mattered. They learned to love structure because it gave them freedom. They stopped waiting for motivation and built systems that worked even when they didn't feel like it. They turned effort into a habit and purpose into a lifestyle. If you want to live that way, start small. Pick one standard that will raise the quality of your day. Stick with it until it feels natural, then add another. Over time, your life becomes a reflection of the small disciplines you've practiced. You stop needing big goals to feel successful because you're already living with purpose each day. There's something deeply empowering about going to bed, knowing you didn't waste the day. You might not have done everything, but you gave your best to the things that mattered. That's what it means to live intentionally, to trade meaningless activity for meaningful action. Every night ask yourself, did I honor my standards today? If the answer is yes, rest with pride. If the answer is no, don't drown in guilt. Adjust and prepare for tomorrow. When you live this way long enough, pride becomes a quiet part of you. You no longer need external validation because you've built internal evidence. You know who you are. You've built a record of consistency that no one can take away. That's what daily standards give you. Proof that you're capable, reliable, and driven. One day you'll realize that these small standards changed everything. They shaped your confidence, strengthened your discipline, and gave meaning to your mornings. You'll understand that success isn't a single achievement, it's the accumulation of days you refuse to waste. So wake up tomorrow, with clarity. Choose the person you want to be, before the world tells you who to be. Set standards that make you proud, not comfortable. Live each day like it has weight, because it does. And when you go to bed each night, let that pride remind you that you're building something no one can take from you. A life built on discipline, integrity and purpose.
Chapter 10. Live with urgency, because this life will not repeat. Every second you spend alive is a second you'll never get back. Life doesn't pause, rewind, or repeat. It moves forward, whether you're ready or not. And too many people live as if they have unlimited time, putting off dreams, delaying change, and pretending tomorrow will always come. But one day, tomorrow won't. That's the reality no one wants to face, yet it's the one truth that gives life its urgency. When you realize how temporary this experience is, you stop wasting it on hesitation, excuses, and fear. You start living with clarity and intention. Living with urgency doesn't mean rushing through life. It means being fully alive while you're here. It means treating every day as a gift, not a guarantee. It means making decisions that honor your time instead of squandering it. Too many people wait for perfect conditions, the right moment, the right mood, the right opportunity. But perfection is a myth. There is no ideal moment to start. Life rewards action, not waiting. Every time you postpone what matters, you trade precious time for comfort. And comfort, though pleasant, has never built a meaningful life.
When you live without urgency, you tell yourself lies to feel safe. You say things like, "I'll do it later, I still have time," or "It's not the right season." But deep down, you know the truth. You're afraid. Afraid to fail, to look foolish, to face discomfort. But fear doesn't disappear with time. It grows stronger the longer you feed it. The only cure for fear is movement. The moment you act, hesitation dies. The moment you decide, clarity follows. Life becomes lighter when you stop dragging your dreams behind you. Urgency comes from perspective. When you understand that your time is limited, your priorities shift. The things that once irritated you stop mattering. The opinions that once controlled you lose power. You stop living for approval and start living for fulfillment. You realize that what truly matters is not how long you live, but how fully you live. You can't control the length of your life, but you can absolutely control its depth. Look around. How many people are merely existing? They wake up, go through the motions, and fall asleep without ever feeling truly alive. They live like they have endless chances, but they don't. Every sunrise is a countdown, not a reset. Every morning you wake up is a second chance that millions of people didn't get. The question is, what will you do with it? You can waste it scrolling, complaining, or drifting, or you can use it to build, to love, to grow, to contribute. Urgency isn't about pressure, it's about purpose. It's about understanding that your time is the most valuable thing you'll ever own. You can recover money, relationships, and opportunities, but you can never recover time. Every moment you waste doubting yourself is a moment you could have used to grow stronger. Every opportunity you ignore today might never come back tomorrow. The clock doesn't stop for anyone, not the lazy, not the afraid, not the indecisive. It keeps ticking. Living with urgency means asking yourself, if this were my last year, how would I live differently? That question alone can change everything. It makes you think clearly. It strips away the distractions and brings your focus back to what matters: your relationships, your health, your dreams, your growth. You stop settling. You stop tolerating mediocrity. You stop living on autopilot. You start treating your time like something sacred. When you truly grasp the value of your time, you become ruthless with it. You stop saying yes to things that drain you. You stop giving energy to arguments that don't matter. You stop chasing temporary pleasure and start pursuing lasting meaning. Urgency doesn't make you frantic, it makes you selective. It teaches you to live with discipline because you realize how little time you have to waste. People who live with urgency don't wait to find motivation, they create. They don't wait to be ready, they move, learn, and adjust along the way. They understand that clarity comes from doing, not thinking. You don't discover purpose by sitting still, you uncover it through action. Every small decision you make to move forward, even when it's uncomfortable, builds momentum. And momentum, once built, becomes unstoppable. One day you'll look back and realize that the moments you were scared to begin were the ones that could have changed everything. You'll wish you had started sooner, spoken louder, loved deeper. But regret is a quiet weight that grows heavier with time. The only way to escape it is to live fully now, to make the call, take the leap, and trust yourself enough to start. Urgency doesn't mean rushing to achieve everything at once. It means making every day meaningful. You don't need to fill every hour with activity, but you should fill it with intention. Ask yourself daily, did I use this day well? Because if you didn't, it's gone forever. You can't relive today tomorrow. Once it's gone, it becomes memory, and you decide whether that memory is filled with pride or regret. We all assume we'll have more time to say what we feel, more time to change, more time to chase what we love. But life doesn't promise that. People leave, opportunities fade, health declines. You can lose everything you take for granted in a moment. Urgency isn't fear of death, it's awareness of life. It's realizing how fragile and precious it is. It's choosing to make every day count before it's taken from you. When you live with urgency, gratitude becomes natural. You stop complaining about what you don't have because you realize how much you've been given. You stop taking ordinary moments for granted. The morning light, the sound of laughter, the ability to move, to think, to choose. Gratitude and urgency are connected. When you appreciate your life deeply, you stop wasting it carelessly. Too often, people confuse comfort with happiness. They think an easy life is a fulfilling one, but comfort breeds stagnation. Growth comes from movement, and movement comes from urgency. When you live urgently, you say yes to challenge, to learning, to improvement. You stop sleeping through your potential. You stop waiting for perfect timing because you know the right time is now. There's something powerful about realizing that this version of your life is temporary. The way things are now won't last forever. The people you see every day, the places you go, the opportunities around you, they will change. When you understand that, you begin to live with more appreciation. You give your best to today, because you know it won't come again. That awareness sharpens your focus and fuels your drive. Living with urgency doesn't mean being reckless. It means being intentional with everything. Your words, your energy, your time. It means saying I love you when you feel it, not when it's convenient. It means apologizing when you should, instead of waiting for pride to pass. It means taking the risk to pursue what you believe in, even when it scares you. Because what's truly scary isn't failure, it's living a life you're not proud of. You were not born to coast through existence. You were born to create, to experience, to give, to grow. But those things require urgency. They require effort now, not someday. Every dream you keep postponing becomes harder to reach. Every year you wait makes it easier to settle. That's how regret sneaks in, not all at once, but slowly through every not yet. The difference between those who live fulfilled and those who don't is urgency. The ones who live fully understand that time is short. They treat every day like an opportunity, not an obligation. They act as if their life depends on today's effort, because it does. Every habit you build, every conversation you have, every decision you make, shapes your future. The future isn't something you wait for, it's something you build through daily urgency. Imagine waking up each morning, knowing that what you do today truly matters, that your actions are shaping a life of meaning. That's what urgency feels like. It gives your days weight. It makes you intentional about how you show up. You stop living like you're rehearsing and start living like it's the main performance, because it is. Living urgently doesn't take away peace, it creates it. When you know you're giving your best effort to your time on earth, you stop worrying about what you can't control. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop doubting whether you're enough. You realize that fulfillment comes not from doing everything, but from doing what matters deeply, consistently, and now. There's no guarantee of next year, next month, or even next week. The only thing guaranteed is the moment you're in. So use it well. Say what needs to be said. Take that step you've been avoiding. Work toward that dream that's been waiting on you. Life will move with or without you. The choice is whether you move with it or get left behind. You don't need to do something grand to live with urgency. You just need to live with awareness. Be intentional with your time, your focus and your presence. Stop living distracted. Stop numbing your days away. Start engaging with life like it actually matters, because it does. And when your time does run out, as it will for all of us, you'll look back not with regret, but with gratitude. You'll know that you didn't waste it waiting for the right moment. You created your moment. You'll know that you didn't settle for existing. You lived fully with purpose and urgency. That's the legacy of a life well lived. Not how long it was, but how deeply it was felt, how honestly it was lived, and how courageously it was spent. So live now, act now, love now. This life is happening once, and you are here, right in the middle of it. Don't let it pass quietly. Fill it with effort, passion and truth, because this life will not repeat, and that's exactly what makes it worth living fully, fiercely, and without hesitation.